Yes, I thought this was pretty cool. I'm one of my new subs, 666, is was asking me about the trees. You know, what am I talking about? That, you know, the trees are not our friends. That sounds pretty strange. Never heard anything like that before. Whether no matter what side you're on, even if you don't believe in global warming and all that shit, then you know, should all still be tree huggers. Look at the fucking imagery in there. Two views. The Mineral Streets, real good video. Anyway, so I started going back, and I'm glad you mentioned that because you know what I noticed, 666, is all my videos throughout all the series I was telling you that I made usually 3 to 6, anywhere from 3 to 6 videos about the trees in each series. And the best ones were the Tripping Sponge series, Santos series, and the Cat series about the trees. Here we go. There we go. So the Santos series is still there. The other series, I just went and checked them. They're missing all the tree videos. Those are the videos they were deleting on me. I don't know why. I don't know why those were so special. So let me run these through anyway. They're old. I learned more since even doing these, but I'm not gonna waste the time to redo them because I'm just gonna remaster them. If I have to re-explain everything, so let me see. Do I go in everywhere on these? Hopefully, it's enough information. I'll look and see. I'll be right back. Yep, even parts of this one are missing because I ABCD'd them. So if you go back to the Santos series, you got Santos Part 111C trees, Santos Part 111B trees, Santos Part 111D trees. Here's A. Okay. All right, these are all here then. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, I want to get into some tree research. I'm having a hard time getting off of the Santos Bonacci series right now. I'm trying not to stress about it. Just gonna go with the flow. And I wanted to get onto a Nick research series because Nick was interested a lot in the floods, the mud floods, and he had some interest in the trees and wanted to know what was going on in the trees. And I was working at the time on some stones, rocks, mountains, and I was researching stones, and it hit me about the trees as well. And I think that's how I picked up on Nick research in the first place. I was researching trees or something like that, and then he popped up. He was doing some similar research, but I don't think he found everything the way that I did. And I want to share it with everybody because it's so easy. It's so fucking easy to see. And I had a Zombie Street interview yesterday, 4-hour long Zombie Street interview, a good one. I like it. And all the things that come out of the zombies' mouths, everything that they say defending their slave masters, as you know, we went on to one subject after another, and the trees were another one. And this person, I know him well, and so I'm not going to say their name or anything like that. They don't want to be. I never put anybody on camera anyway, just their voice if I even do that. But the feedback that I get is fucking crucial. I need it. I need the feedback. I want to know just how fucking dumbed down we all are. And I've never ceased to be amazed at how fucking dumbed down we really all are. So anyways, I should start off at the Quab and how I came across this, but it's alright. So anyways, one day I'm up at the Quab Reservoir in Massachusetts, and I'm doing some stone research, and they have these plaques everywhere. And as a matter of fact, they're these plaques. So they have these plaques everywhere set up around the Quabbin Reservoir showing the town before they made a reservoir out of it. And they've only flooded out 2 towns out of the, I believe, 5 that they threw out of there. So, anyways, when you go and when I was looking around, I'm looking at these things, these plaques, right? To give you one for an example, this was one of them. I was looking at this plaque here, and there's a few missing. This is old research. I did this a long time ago. I was looking at this one here as well. I was looking at the school and this, because all of a sudden it struck me that these trees that were in the photographs were still there. So when I looked at these trees, right, that were there at this time, and I don't remember when, this was when the town was running, so we know it was, we can get a general date on it, and as a matter of fact, a lot of these plaques had dates on them. So that was easy enough, and I'm saying to the people that were standing around me looking at this stuff, I'm like, look at all the billions of fucking trees that are here now today. Billions upon billions of fucking trees. But yet when we went from photograph to photograph, you look around in here, and we had these, 20, 30-year-old trees that were not even just, same size as some of the homes and things like that, right? So we could kind of get a general size. And then this is all just grass and fields and little bushes and things of that nature. We can pick out a couple trees that were already 100 years old, when you look around in the background. Just like same thing with this one. We can look at these and we know they're already 90 to 100 years old in this photograph, where we know this one here is less than, probably 20 years old, 15 to 20 years old, small, planted right here on this main street. Now, when you started looking around at these, the hotel, the Smith shop, all these things, you'd see a tree here, a tree there. You can count them. You can literally count them. And I started going into the fields. Same thing. I'm looking into these field areas, right? I'm looking at these trees. Now, if you go along the road to the places where these people, when they built the town, planted their trees purposeful. So if trees were in a row, in a line, different types of trees that were in the same place. Here's another one. If I can get the fucking thing. This was another one. All wrinkly, so it was old stuff laying around. I'm trying to see. Okay, these ones right here. Okay, so on the main roads, you had these trees here. There was one here, one there, all the way down the roads. You could go to these trees. They're still there. Some of them are falling down. A couple of them they cut down because they were worried about them falling, I guess, on someone. It's on a main road. All these buildings here are marked off of what was standing there. So you take this photograph with you and you look at it, right? And you're looking around. People, there are fucking billions of fucking trees around here. Hundreds of billions of trees around here. All over the fucking place. It's now a forest, right? So when I started asking people about this, they said, well, when these people moved here, they came in and they bulldozed everything down. That's what people started telling me. I said, okay, well, that was, early 1700s. Where did they get the bulldozer? A fucking space alien craft came down and gave them the bulldozer, and they didn't tell nobody. They just bulldozed this whole area. And of course I'm being sarcastic, because this goes for fucking everywhere. Everywhere you go, everything you do. In other words, I can go where I'm going to take you right now on the computer, and we can go town by town by town, and we can see this is the same everywhere. So these are photographs. So this wasn't good enough for people, right? So after the photograph thing, I went over to lithographs, because the lithographs I can go back further in time. So I'm trying to tell people about this. The next thing I heard was farmers came in, cut them all down, stripped the land so they could farm here. Because you can see there's crops and shit here and there, right? No, they did not. No farmer back in the 1700s picks a fucking mountain full of trees and to plow the fucking land and pull up all these. No, the fucking soil wouldn't even be rich from all the trees growing there all the years, first of all. So what are they gonna do, bring in all new fresh fucking soil? No. The thing in these things are so fucking stupid, the ideas are unbelievable. People will not believe what they just can see with their own fucking eyes, right? Next thing I heard was this chopping down tree thing, you know, because I started pointing at the mountains. I said, come on, even the fucking mountains are bare, guys. Look, you can count the trees in the fucking sides of the mountain, right? You can go in deep on these, and you can count the trees. Now, these are photographs. These are not lithographs. And this doesn't go back to the 1700s either. This is late 1800s, early 1900s, okay, to get a photograph, obviously. So anyways, you can count these trees and you can pick them out and you can find the ones that are still there today. And then when you get there, you look around you and you say, holy shit, something's wrong here. We're being told that we're being carbon taxed and we're the end of Mother Nature because we're killing off all the trees. They fucking lied to us again. It's the total opposite. So once I started coming onto this, now this was long before I found the nanocarbon system. This was 2-3 years before I found the nanocarbon. I was doing this tree research. So, anyways, I started going to these places and I'm, looking around down the roads every other day. I take a ride. I'm looking around. I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Town to town, park to park. I'm going through it all. I'm like, no. I can see the trees that were there that were 100 years old in the photograph. But now there's so many fucking trees you can't even see anything, right? So again, I'm listening to all these bullshit stories about things. The hotels that were in this town, you go to the photographs that are there in the park, the plaques, and you'll see one tree, another tree, right, in the photograph. And then I'm saying to people, I look up with my camera, I'm like, look today, people, look, there's fucking millions of trees right here in this square that they did this photograph. Not this one, but, I'd have to find that. I don't know where it fucking is. But any of them, even this one, it's unfucking real how silly we are, okay? Okay, so I already fucking ate up 9 minutes. So, I had to start going back further in time because that wasn't good enough for anybody. Everybody, photographs and shit like this, right? So I start going into these lithographs. You go into these lithographs, I call them lithographs because I don't know, I just like to get everybody upset. Let's see if this one gets bigger. Yeah, it does. Okay. So you start going into these lithographs. Now, this is the town of Ware. Now, this is the town I live in. It's a very country-ish fucking town. You can't go anywhere where there's a tree. As a matter of fact, if you go up to where this guy did this lithograph from the mountain that I believe that he was standing when he did this lithograph. I'm glad I can redo this because I make mistakes all the time. This is what I was telling you, Ziggy. Did you just hear what I just said? There's not a place in this town where you could find a tree. What I meant to say was you can't go anywhere where you wouldn't find a tree, because the trees have taken over. But it came out of my mouth wrong, So, I mean, I get shit wrong, Okay, I'll bring you right in on it. So just look at this for a minute. Look at all the, the lack of trees, okay? This was so easy, people. This research is so fucking easy, town to town. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's unbelievable how fucking silly we all are. I'm just letting you look at this for a minute. Okay? Okay. So, I'm trying to figure out where this guy was standing. So, what I did was, I go over to right here to get a corner start. Coincidentally, today, my uncle lives right here. In this house right here. This house that's right here wasn't even built yet. You see this tree right here? I'm going to go today and we're going to take a ride. It'll probably turn into the second or third video of this part because this is my tree part and I don't mark my video, so who the fuck knows how it's going to work out. But anyways, this tree, I'm going to show you the trunk. They cut it down. This was about a year or two ago. They cut this down. I'll bring you in with the video so you can go ahead and count the rings. I believe it was 350 years old. So in this photograph right here, taken in 1878, we already know the age of this tree by counting the rings and looking at the age of this tree, right? This is really some fucking simple shit. Let me make sure it wasn't this tree. this tree or this tree? I'm trying to remember now. But anyways, let's stick to this anyway. So when I bring you over here, you're gonna see that all of this area, there's all houses and streets over here, and there are still more trees than what we have here. It's really, really incredible how silly we all are not to notice. Now, you're talking billions of trees. If you come back to the same spot, you can't see any of this shit anymore. None of these homes, houses, nothing, because they're all buried by fucking trees. Trees are everywhere. So these rolling hills, rolling mountains, even though there's homes built over here, even though there's all this, factory, the railroad track still goes by here. This building's still here. I'm gonna bring it down to show you. I'll bring the sheet with me. I don't have any ink to print it up. But anyway, then what we're gonna do is we'll leave my uncle's house. We'll take a ride down this road here real quick. We'll take a right, because when you look from this street over this way, and we look down in here, you're gonna see this row of trees that was purposely planted, right? We can look across this river here at these trees here that were also purposely planted. This area right here that comes into the water like this, still there. Okay, we can all these trees here again in a row, purposely planted. Okay, then over here, this whole area, you can see these trees here that are these rows that are. We're gonna go to those. See these ones over here on this edge right here. We're gonna be able to go to these, and I'm gonna tell you, man, it was fucking unbelievable to see how many billions of trees are here now today. Just in this 100 and some odd years since whatever the math is, you do it. 1878, this lithograph was done. Now, these guys that did this lithograph, they were really, really good. They knew what they were doing. So my point to people as they were telling me that, what happened was, see, when these farmers came in here to the town of Ware, what they did was they knocked all the trees down. Oh, is that what they did? So yeah, they plowed them all down with fucking plows, really? So they're horses and buggies? No. Yeah. And then they think about it for a second. Say, yeah, you're talking 1700s, man. You're talking early 1700s when they built this town. So how the fuck did they bulldoze everything? So you're saying with their horses and buggies, they came in, they cut all the trees down, and then, no. You gotta remember, Mike, they were, we were burning a lot of wood and back then, and this and that, and, so they were burning a lot and cut. No, I'm sorry, no, you're wrong. I'll tell you why you're wrong, because you can go look for yourself and you'll see that the guys that were doing these lithographs were so fucking good and so meticulous that if you found areas where there were stumps, then those stumps were added to the photographs and lithographs. So here we go, even right here. Here's an example of them, okay? So here's a stump. Here's a stump. If you're following my thing here. Here's a stump. They're adding the fucking stumps, people. That's how, good they are about these. Another thing you can look for, look at the size of these trees compared to the homes, the buildings that are around, okay? Pine trees grow really fucking fast. Pine trees are full grown at 70 to 90 years. So, these pine trees are the age of the town. When they moved in, they planted them. A couple ways to see how that's easy to prove. Because they're planted in rows. When there's intent to them, when there's human intent to them. If they're planted along roadsides in a line. All different kinds of evidence to prove that that's a bullshit story. So if they build something, they'll plant some trees around it. They want some shade for the kids to go play near the fucking school grounds. So they plant some trees around those. Motherfucking fuck me, man. Fucking phones are ridiculous, man. Alright, so back to what I was saying. So you can see where the stumps were. I assure you, nobody came through here in the 1700s with bulldozers and bulls down thousands of fucking trees, people. It just didn't happen, okay? So next I'll tell you is that there's nothing special about this town of Ware at all. Nothing. You can go to any town, and this happens from town to town to town. This is the way that it always is. Let me see what else we got. Let's see. try to find some other towns that are around me. So these lithograph companies, they've got these lithographs. You can order them online. You can go look around and breeze around at them. It's Baldwinville. I didn't go here, but again, it doesn't matter. Any one of them would pull it up. I hate when they do that. That Noel place is now letting me go in. Oh, here's one of where, right? No, it's another. Same thing. You go around here, go around the train stations, like anywhere you go around that you know are familiar with. Brownsville, 1883 Brownsville. So you go to this one, 1883 Brownsville, right? Some of them you can make larger and some you can't. Let's see. There we go. Okay, that one's letting me. Okay, so now you go here today. I don't have to fucking guess. Look at the line of trees up here, right? Look at the line of trees up here. This is fucking mountainsides, people. This is all filled with fucking trees. You can't even see any of these houses. I don't have to go there and do this one personally. I know because I did fucking 10 other towns. Okay, so again, being pissed off and talking, it's funny listening to myself. But again, another mistake, because what I mean is today, when you go to this town today, but obviously in this lithograph, there's shit for trees in here. So I'll try to fix things as I go on. It's like this in every town. Everywhere you go, this is what you'll find. This is not a United States thing, because obviously if Nick Research was going through some similar shit and wanted to know shit out his way, this is everywhere. It's everywhere. This something went down. Something went down, and what it is Nick, if you ever come to these videos, you know what went down? As I keep, researching the EMNC, and what actually went down was the fact that they weren't here. The trees weren't even here. Not like they are today. We brought all this on and, made a fungus of the earth, and we're disconnecting ourselves, is what we're doing. We're going so far bio that we're disconnecting ourselves with the system, the real system that I'm trying to show you, the electromagnetic nanocarbon system. We've disconnected ourselves with it. Not totally, but we're getting there. That's why it's everybody save the trees, save the trees. Everywhere you go, it's all about saving the trees, right? Canada's all in an uproar about it, and all over the United States, a big uproar. In the moon map model, you can see that what has happened is we've turned all the Americas have gotten their trees from Canada all the way to Brazil, have gotten their trees. I don't want to guess times, but I'm sure we can figure out a timeline. But they've mostly just, by looking at what I'm showing you here, in the last couple hundred years has been the most tree growth ever on this earth. So it's a misconception for me, even at the time I did this video, to be thinking that, because you hear me saying something went down. I'm looking for like a big flood or a big plasma blast or something like. No, it was nothing like that. They were never here to begin with. We are the ones. We are the biospecies that have caused all this trouble. And then the trees used to just grow naturally. They were growing naturally. Then when humans started planting them everywhere, we were just furthering the biosystem. And also, just to let you know, too, that also controls the natural current. So the natural current is getting hit by the trees. And we say, oh, thank goodness for the trees. Otherwise, they'd blow everything away. And thank goodness for the shade. No. The trees are sapping up all of our good water, and the trees are taking all of our energy. And then they also, again, disrupt the current, because you cannot change the current in any way at the beginning of the cycle, is the way I'll describe it. The humans have no control over that. But what we can do is we can dampen it. We can change the refractions and reflections of the energy. So we can also do that by adding minerals to the sky, mineral streaks coming out in jets, that kind of thing. They also sap up all of our water. They sap up all of our clean water, the trees. Their roots go down as far as you see them going up. So you got to remember, they're going way the fuck down. They're going to our main water sources, and they steal all of our minerals that normally would be evaporated, come back down on us in rain, and then
absorb into our skin, you know, and used and soaked up just the same way the air should be, you know. It'd be moisture in the air, our skin would absorb it, and we wouldn't need to drink water, we wouldn't need to drink fluids. This goes to what 666 was saying. Mountains are full of imagery. I'm not even getting into it because we're talking about trees, but these mountains, everywhere you go, are filled with the same imagery I'm trying to show you everywhere too. But right now we're on trees, and I'm just straightening myself out and having a laugh listening to myself talk.
I'm gonna make Nick a series anyways, but Santos may even have interest in this, but Santos gonna be so fucking busy with everything I just showed him on the moon and stuff if he ever comes to these videos that I don't think he's gonna have time to look at the tree.
See, that's sarcasm. Wolfus was making comments about that. It's kind of about me saying shit like that. That's sarcasm. I know that Santos Bonacci, I had a good idea anyway, that Santos Bonacci was a paid agent, you know, most likely a YouTube agent directly. So I didn't expect him to come forward and look at what I was showing him or anything like that. So I'm just being sarcastic in that part.
Something happened. These trees were not here before. I can't find any evidence of any trees being here before the 500 years, I would say, because all the trees, as far back as we can go to even see the trees and take people's word on it, is going to be, of course, paintings and lithographs, whatever you want to call them. So these lithographs and paintings and sketches and drawings and shit like that is the only word that we have. We don't have photographs or videos, even though photographs and videos can be fucked with. Obviously, nobody was fucking with these lithographs. They just count on the slaves being so distracted and so dumbed down that nobody notices. And then when somebody does notice and somebody does finally bring it up, their family, friends, and people around them and that they know well will all tell them they're fucking nuts. And they'll say, no, you see, when we came here, we took all the trees from the Indians and we bulldozed everything and cut the trees. No, we didn't, man. No, we didn't. Nothing happened the way we fucking say it. No, it's all lies. It's all bullshit, man. Fucking pisses me the fuck off. So anyway, so anybody can go to these lithographs. Anybody can do this. Take an hour or two. Go look around in your area. Pull up all the maps in your area and lithographs like this and do this. Now don't go on the fucking Google Maps. Don't bother with Google Maps. I'll show you some shit sometime on Google Maps when I have time for conspiracy.
Oh, those got deleted too. Now that I hear myself talking about it. Okay, I did do stuff on the Google Map stuff, and those are all gone too. I see what you're deleting, YouTube, or whoever, if you got somebody else in there deleting my shit.
You know, will hopefully impress the shit out of people. And again, you can go do it yourself. You can go see for yourself. They lie about every fucking thing is my point. So let me go to this one over here. Hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, so here's Holyoke, Mass, right? So when I did Holyoke, because I did Holyoke, Palmer, Chicopee, Belchertown, Ware, Ludlow. I did a shitload of towns around here, and I did it using lithographs and photographs. And it was very easy. It was very easy to do. It wasn't really a time-consuming thing. It was fun. You got out to be out in the get some fresh air and everything, right? So, and you get to be amazed every day. If I was making videos actually at the time. I made a full series of all this. I deleted them all. I think the nanocarbon's too important to go back onto this trees.
See, and that means I deleted everything up to the Santos series because I kept getting copyright strikes on them to do with the trees. This is very interesting. I'm glad I'm listening to this and not just, hanging out in another room. Because as I'm standing here thinking too, I got to go back and look because it seems to me that those fake ass satellite footage shit that I did too is all missing. So here I am in this video in the Santos series saying that all the other tree stuff I did up to the Santos series had to be deleted. I had to delete it. They copyright striked it for one reason or another. Huh.
Yes, the trees are something else is going on here that we're not told. Yes, more lies, but I don't think we have time to get into all these things, unfortunately. I don't think there's any time for it anymore. I think finding a nanocarbon is the biggest thing that we can all be looking at right now is that. and then the rest of these things will come into play, you know. But as I'm showing Nick research, the nano.
So 666, that's the same thing that I'm trying to explain to you now too about the Metellus. There's no time to fuck around on it really. That I don't know. I don't feel like there is. So, you know, if you're really interested in learning about it, then you need to see it first. You can't just ask for the cure if you don't even have any symptoms of the Metellus. So if you don't have any symptoms, then why would somebody who doesn't have any symptoms of any Metellus be looking for a cure? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So that's why I'm questioning you and asking you about these things, because I'm making these three. I'm adding these for you. This thing on the trees because you were interested, which I'm glad you did because I'm interested too.
Carbon, because I'm going to. I also want to bring in this part about the trees. Not enough people realize. People keep thinking that, you know, it's take down, startup, take down, startup, take down, startup. I don't believe that's what's going on. I think that it was startup, and then everything that's happened since the startup is here. In other words, these reset buttons with the veil going up.
So even since the making this video, since making the Santos series, I know now with more sure than I was even then that of the date line, 6,000 years ago, it was the startup for this program. So this reset that I'm about to talk about now, looking back at the Santos series, I was back and forth on it, and I was trying to figure it all out, the resets, you know. Let's see.
I don't see it as drastically terrible as people will claim it is.
And that still holds true. I still hold that true. I think we just go right into the next reset. And they did that throughout every reset with the minor changes. Like right now, we're becoming more and more synthetic. Kind of like the things that Harald are saying, only you have to pull out the little bits and pieces of truth on all that, because he's saying it's space aliens that did it, and there's no evidence of space aliens did it. Only evidence he has of space aliens or even outer space is in movies, television, books, his education, the schooling, all that. So a lot of what he's saying about it, the type of system that it is, and what's going on with the nanos, he's partially correct. He is giving you partial truths about these things. So are those partial truths intentional as well with the rest of the lies, or is it unintentional? I would like to know, you know, how this all works myself.
Even if they do get a full reset out of it, even if they do a full reset, I don't think it's going to really be like what they're claiming it's going to be. In other words, we're living in a fucking light bulb, and we're turning the light bulb rusty and dirty,
Yep.
and destroying it by becoming the fungus, the trees,
Yes.
the grass, the
Yes.
humans.
And it's just one example. You could also use a computer monitor. I've used before too. It's like we're living inside of a computer monitor, you know. It's the same thing. I also compared it to a big magneto. You know, a big magneto, once you get it going, it never stops. You know, you can get it to keep on going and going and going as long as the energy is all, you know, energized. As long as the energy is all there, it'll keep it going, which would explain for our sadness and our happiness and our emotions and stuff like that would be able to change the energy. So if you want to make 10 million people sad, then you're going to change the energy again, deflecting and reflecting the natural current, using human souls to do so. Animals probably wouldn't even. Depends on who's got the mirror neuron. If you have the mirror neuron, and then you would affect that. You would make that effect. But then, if you have the mirror neuron, and they take out any empathy you have by using a mirror neuron manipulator, which is something else that I'll talk about another time too. Mirror neuron manipulator also could reflect and deflect energy, or soak up energy rather than pass it, that kind of thing too.
Anything fungus type, blood, the animals, the other creatures of the earth, changing from electrical over to bio over a 4,000 year period. It seems like the timeline that I'm sticking with. Back to the trees.
So I was at what,
I'll get
4,000?
back
What did I
to
say?
nanocarbon
So see, even back then, I was at 4,000 years. I was trying to put dates together. Right now, I'm at 6,000 years, I believe it is. But it may very well be longer, shorter. I don't know. I'm working by myself. So, but they are, I wouldn't call them educated guesses, but they are guesses that I'm making by going what I see with my eyes and not by any previous program. Put it that way.
Okay, so what you do with the trees, same thing. I grew up in Holyoke. I grew up here, right? I know all these fucking streets. I know these canals. I know all the fucking. I know these riverbanks. I know all this stuff. So when I came to these towns, just like Belchertown, Chicopee, same shit. So when I came around here and I started looking around here, and I'm like, I'm fucking flabbergasted. You just think that when we came here, we took down all the trees, that we killed off all the trees, right? And that the trees that we see today is very minimum compared to what it used to be in the old days and everything like that. Even when we took over this country, when we stole this land from the Indians, and I mean, it's so fucking stupid because look, 1878, you got trees that are 30, 40 years old, all right over here, right? These are all 30 to 40-year-old trees. See all these trees? Not even. They're even younger than that, right? Look at these trees all along the shoreline right here. Look at them all. Young trees, not even up to the side of the buildings that are here. Not even as high as these buildings, okay? Small trees. All along the riverbank, same thing. Now, believe me, people, when they came to fucking make Holyoke, they didn't come through with a bulldozer in the fucking late 1600s, early 1700s, and come to this fucking thing. No, because they didn't have a bulldozer to bulldoze everything down. And second of all, why would they? Why would they? If you did have a bulldozer in the early 1700s, why wouldn't you just bulldoze some areas for you to build your own homes and buildings and shit like that? Maybe make some streets with them, which you did not have. But let's say you did. And if you did, then why wouldn't you do that? Why would you come over here to the riverbanks and the fucking along the rivers and all up here in the mountains and all this shit and bulldoze down all the trees? What, for firewood? You're out of your fucking minds, man. And that's what people say. That's what people tell me. Constantly. That's what I mean. It's a fucking zombie battle, man. It's a battle against the zombie slaves. Who are the zombie slaves? Us. We're the zombie slaves. All of us. So fucking dumbed down. Okay, so then I come over here. You find some places that you can identify. You identify a building. You look at the size of these trees that are near this building, right? Then you go there, you're driving down these streets, you're like, holy fuck. You can't see nothing but trees anywhere in here. Now there's homes built all over the place. There's buildings and homes and shit everywhere now. Businesses and the like. This is High Street. This is the main fucking drag. So even with all the buildings there, you can't see shit because of all the trees. Even though it's a city, there are more fucking trees in that city. You would not believe how many. That's the way it is, right? So then I go from here. Let's see if this map goes to it. To Mount Tom. Mount Tom. I love hitting the mountains, right? So when you're looking up in the backgrounds of these areas, right? These guys were good at drawing. They knew their lithographs. They weren't fucking around. Go by the size of the trees here. Look at the size of the trees all over these hills and mountains. Look at how little they all are. This is grass, people. This is field. This is not trees. When you go there today, you'll see how big the trees are, and you'll see them by the hundreds of billions. The trees have taken over. We've allowed it. We've allowed it. We're so fucking dumbed down that we look to these trees as our saviors for some reason, and really they're sapping up all of our energy. No human is going to be living to 200-300 years old like the trees do, because the trees are sapping up all of our energy. The story of David and Goliath, yeah, it was about trees. It was about a big tree. And the moral of the story gets changed and turned into lies over the years, and the truth gets turned into fiction, and fiction gets turned back into bullshit stories, and It's unbelievable. So you come up here and you go along this riverbank today, all these 30-year-old trees, you can pick out the trees from this lithograph and find them. You can find these trees, and if they're not cut down, you'll find their trunks. You'll find rotted trunks or whatever of a tree that made it to 220 years old and then died, and you can still find the rotted trunk of it. So it's, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you around on the ground, and I'm going to just to get out of the house for an hour or two and bring you through, and I'll make a few videos on it. But this is really incredible. Anybody can do this. Let me see if I go small. Can I get it? See where else this takes me. Okay, so yeah, so you can go to the lithographs of your areas, pick one, let's see, Beckett, oh my God, Beckett, I did Beckett. Beckett is unbelievable. You would not, I can't keep saying you wouldn't believe. Nobody believes fucking nothing. The thing about this is that when you go to this, Beckett is a fucking tree town. The trees own the fucking town of Beckett. There are, it's amazing. It's amazing. And we all go along with this, myself included. For all my life, I felt bad for the trees too, I thought we were killing off the trees, and it's our fault, and human interference is fucking up everything, and Mother Nature, and blah, blah, blah. It's a total opposite. The fucking, we're allowing the trees to outlive us. We're allowing the trees to multiply, and I'll tell you what, the trees are not on the fucking list. It's feline, canine, ape, rodent, human, and beast. This system is feline.
See, that's back when I used to say feline, canine, ape, I think I started off in the beginning 2 years ago. It was human, ape, beast, and I was saying it the other way around. And then eventually it became out feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. Because I'm saying this, I'm bringing this up because I think it all comes back to one. You got your feline, canine, and your rodent all walking on 4 legs, and your ape, human, and beast walking on 2. That was the common thread, and I thought they all led to
canine,
one.
ape, rodent, human, and beast. If we're going to pay attention to any creatures on this earth and in this system, yes, I want to know why the other ones are not included, but I'm going to assume right off the bat that all other creatures on this earth are nothing compared to the feline, canine, ape, rodent, human, and beast. Otherwise, it would not be those images over and over from the veil to the ground. So it seems pretty plain to me as I'm going along, finding all this, and then realizing how we were lied to about the trees. It's fucked up. So when I keep going back in time on these lithographs, you're going to go back to the early 1700s, late 1600s for these lithographs. Then you can go back even further for paintings and drawings, and you'll find the same thing. You'll see a tree in the background here and there of a famous site or a famous scene of a picture or a painting, and you're gonna see the same shit, there were no trees. And when I say there were no trees, I mean there were no fucking trees. I mean there was, you're talking a few 30-foot trees. You'll see a 150-foot tree at one place. You can age these trees that are in the photographs, but that's it. You come back today to the same spot, and you're seeing billions upon billions of trees. Even the trees here, this is Beckett. Look at all the trees that are on the side of this mountain right here, right? He's got them presented on the side of this mountain. He's presenting them. First of all, they're small trees. When you look at them, even to the size of the buildings, start over here so you can size them up and then work your way up the mountain. Do you see any that are like sticking out further than the rest of them? No. So you know that they're all around the same size as these first few that are here. So you size them up next to these buildings, and you know this whole hill is full of 30 to 40-year-old trees, this whole side, right? Then you go over here, start looking, look at all these other trees, 30 to 40-year-old trees that are purposely planted. Look at the rows. The rows, they follow the streets, right? They follow the streets. Now again, nobody came through with bulldozers. They made their streets around fucking things. They went around things. Like, let's say there was a few trees right here on the side of this mountain.